Welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by Tapoco Lodge. When it comes to summer getaways, folks, book yourself a stay where adventure meets sanctuary. If I could say it, it's where they meet. Whether you want a vacation that's got some peace and tranquility, or if you're looking for some of that adventure, kayaking, biking, hiking, rafting, or you want both. It's a secluded spot. You can take your pick. Tapoco Lodge, great place to check out. Do so for your summer getaway. All right. We've got two recruiting gurus on our show, Josh Ward and Ryan Callahan. Last week, Josh Ward got his say. This week from Go Vols 247, we got Ryan Callahan. Let me start with you. What did the commitment fairy leave on the pillow this week for Tennessee?
Yeah, three-star tight end Sean Brown of Rome, Georgia. And this is a big pickup for Tennessee because that's a big need for Tennessee in 2019. They now have two tight ends in that class. They already had four-star Jackson Lowe of Cartersville, Georgia. Now beat out Auburn for Sean Brown. LSU and Ole Miss had offered him recently. Both bigger tight ends. Jackson Lowe around 240 pounds right now. Sean Brown 6'5", 245, and has a frame to add on even more weight. I think they both give Tennessee what they really need, a tight end that can help in both the run game and the passing game, and I think they look at the current roster and really don't see much of that right now. So really feels a big need for Tennessee, and another win over an SEC rival. That's never a bad thing, so this is a nice pickup for Tennessee.
Tennessee trying to track down a grad transfer from Alabama. Looks like they're certainly in the mix, maybe a possibility of grabbing this guy. He would have 2 years to play. Brandon Kennedy is his name. Do you think they'll get him? And if so, how big of an impact can he make? I mean, just having an extra body there at this point, I think, would be a big step.
Yeah, I think they probably do get him right now. If I had to guess, I think it's looking very likely that the SEC steps in and allows him to transfer where he wants to go. It looks like it's between Tennessee and Auburn primarily where he wants to go. Obviously, you can understand why Alabama might not want that, especially in Auburn's case. I think Tennessee, if that's ultimately where he decides he wants to go, I think that provides a path of least resistance. Alabama not probably as concerned about Tennessee this year and maybe even next year. So for a couple years to lose a guy like that to Auburn, that could impact their head-to-head game there. I think with Tennessee, they'd put up less of a fight. So we'll see if that ends up being the way he goes. But I think Tennessee is the favorite there, and I think the SEC ultimately clears him to go where he wants.
Yeah, and Alabama's trying to block the SEC thing, but they also tried, was it last year or 2 years ago, with the kid that went to Georgia, and the SEC stepped in and said, no, you can do it, even though Alabama didn't want him to. So there is past precedence there in Tennessee's favor if they're trying to get the kid. Four-star out of high school? Okay.
What position?
He was a backup center at Alabama, so likely an interior lineman. Could play a couple different positions on the offensive line, but easy to project him as being a guard or center at Tennessee.
All right, one of Jeremy Pruitt's top signees back in February was the #1 JUCO tight end of the country, Dominic Wood Anderson. He arrived on campus this week for the mini-term. What can you tell us about what expectations are for him?
Well, if you saw the tight end position that Tennessee, the tight end group Tennessee rolled out there this spring, you understand why this is such a big deal. They really needed some help at the junior college ranks at tight end, and to get the #1 JUCO player in the country, I think really filled that need. But he's still not a finished product, but he looks a lot different from what they have out there right now. A real playmaker in the passing game. Not the tallest tight end, but has the size you need to help a little bit more in the run game with blocking. So I think this is a guy who's likely going to be the favorite to win that starting job going into the season. And it's really important to get him here as early as possible so that he can learn the offense, understand the playbook. That's a complex position, as we've talked about in the past with former staff. So to get him here and see what he can do this summer, I think is really important, and obviously a big win for Tennessee to get him in. He thought he was going to be here in January, and it didn't work out.
Anything else on the horizon this week?
I think Tennessee could get another commitment as early as this week. Four-star wide receiver Ramel Keaton of Marietta, Georgia, is planning to announce his decision Wednesday afternoon. Tennessee and Auburn are the top two that he will be choosing between, it looks like. And Auburn hosted him on the most recent visit, but Tennessee had him on campus for the spring game. He's been to Tennessee now 6 times since September of 2016, so very familiar with the Vols, and I think they're in good shape. I think Tennessee is the favorite to land him.
Ryan Callahan, everyone. A round of applause. You handled your solo very well. Good. Thank you. Good stuff there. Josh and Ryan are always here with our recruiting stuff. Always appreciate that. First-time coaches in the SEC. How have they done? That's, of course, what Jeremy Pruitt is. So how have the past guys who've been hired there into the SEC since 2000, so recent years, go back a couple decades, how have those guys done? You want to see this? Come on back.